Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jonathan Ko, and I'm from Mandy Plastics Incorporated. I am very happy to be with all of you virtually this afternoon. The theme of my talk is circularity through returnable or circular material handling systems. The title of my talk is Circular-Centric Thinking and Actions. Practical suggestions for food industry players to have less negative environmental impact. First, a quick introduction. Our company, Mandy Plastics, has been in the plastics business for 58 years. It was started in 1964 by my grandfather in a workshop in Chinatown here in Manila. I hope that after all this time, you are familiar with these brands. I won't spend too much time on them now. We will revisit them later in the presentation. I was given some guide questions which I would like to use to get us started this afternoon. These are, what does it mean to close the loop? And second, will packaging play a key role in our push towards circularity? By packaging, we include material handling. So the difference is packaging would be direct food contact and material handling may or may not be direct food contact. For example, if you make a mamon, you would put that in a tray, and then the tray you would put in a sleeve. The sleeve you would put in another container to collect maybe 10 or 24 or 20 in one box. So all of that is packaging and material handling. The answer to the second question is easy. I think we have no choice. We definitely should include packaging in our push towards circularity. I am very thankful to the Design Center for centering this year's National Food Fair around this topic on packaging. A huge percentage of the waste that needs to be managed is packaging. I think that any serious effort to reduce our waste would have to include packaging as a key waste that must be managed. I believe, as I think does our host, the Design Center of the Philippines, that one key system change in our consumption behavior is to move from linear to circular. I believe that by doing this, we can take a significant step forward towards our shared goal of leaving a better planet to the next generation. I see it as my job this afternoon to give you some practical and implementable ideas for your business in order to achieve this noble and necessary goal. I think what is important in this 30 to 45 minute talk is for me to convince you to commit to it, because there is so much information available out there that if you are willing, you will be able to locate those important pieces of information. I see it as my job this afternoon to give you a reason to do it by making the case for circularity and then giving you some examples on how you can apply our products in helping you achieve that circularity. What I would like to start with is by clarifying what we mean by circularity. Next, I would like to present a short video of how various companies that are our clients have implemented a circular material handling system using our crates, pallets, and trolleys. Finally, I would like to leave with you some thoughts and recommendations that you can take and offer ourselves as a supplier and partner to work with you to implement some form of circularity in your own business. So let us begin. What is circularity? Google circularity, circular economy, and you can find many different definitions. Let me give you my thoughts about what a practical definition of circularity is that I have found useful in my own journey towards strategizing how we can make our company helpful to other businesses working to achieve it. Circularity is a departure from the usual take, make, dispose, or otherwise called linear consumption behavior. Notice that the last step in that process is dispose. What a negative term. It connotes that the byproduct of the make part is useless valueless, or something you do not need. A nuisance that needs to be disposed of because it no longer serves your purpose. Another word for it is discard. But we all know that at least in many cases, that is not true. The byproduct has value. Perhaps not to you, but to others. If it was truly valueless, junk shops wouldn't exist. Salvage yards wouldn't exist. Recyclers of plastic, who are our suppliers, would not exist. Waste pickers, or in Tagalog, mangangalakal, wouldn't exist. Because waste is only waste because the person currently in possession of it thinks or has decided that it is useless, either through lack of awareness of the other options or imaginations to figure out other uses for it. They have run out of ideas on how to further extract value from it. This in itself is not bad. If it's useless to you, then it's useless to you. The problem for the greater society happens when the byproduct or waste that were separate to begin with gets mixed with other waste in the same waste container. This results in the contamination of otherwise valuable asset. We are all guilty of this, and it has been the cause of the many waste management problems we have had for so long. Why is this? Because a lot of the waste that goes into the landfills are actually technically usable or recyclable. So our landfills, which are supposed to last for this long, only lasts this long. And there are consequences to that. You need more landfills, which nobody wants in their town or their city. So we have to think differently. We have to do differently. That is to say, we have to manage our waste differently. What we recommend is that people, households, and businesses keep the waste separated. More on that later. One person's waste can and should be another person's resource. And with the right handling, it can be. So the answer to the first question, what does it mean to close the loop, is precisely that. Closing the loop means finding ways for waste to be valuable again and connecting that waste to that part of the waste management system. Why am I dwelling on this topic for so long? In order to answer that question, I would like to deviate a bit from the topic to address something. There is some confusion about circular and sustainable. We just went through a few days of talks about sustainable packaging in the form of natural materials, going bio-based. And then tomorrow, you'll have more sessions about sustainable materials and innovative sustainable packaging solution. Nothing is wrong with any of this. But, and I hope I'm not being so presumptuous, but I would venture a guess that what those ideas have in common is that it only thinks about packaging materials that are made from renewable sources. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you make something out of renewable or sustainable sources, but still do not change the take, use, dispose culture of society, you will still create waste. And ultimately, it is the waste that is polluting our planet. What is pollution after all? But simply materials that are not supposed to be somewhere. Waste is something that has been deemed useless or worthless by someone. The problem is the great majority of consumers equate something being called waste as it no longer being their problem. And that, ladies and gentlemen, leads me to the first major point of this talk. In order to achieve circularity, where one person's waste can be another person's wealth, the person that produces that waste must care about what happens to the thing that he or she has deemed as waste and therefore has put in the waste bin together with the other waste for disposal. I am dwelling on this point, by the way, because only by thinking differently can we even begin to act differently, because it is a waste management system. Simply doing one thing without seeing how it connects to the rest of the pieces of the chain breaks the chain, and then the waste leaks into the environment, and that is ultimately what we want to stop. In order to begin our journey towards circularity, we have to think in circular terms. That means caring about what happens to whatever you put out there in the market after it has served its purpose to you. In the case of packaging, I suggest you start with the end in mind. That leads me to my second point that I would like to leave with you this afternoon. Starting with the end in mind means reaching out to the various players in the waste management industry. I'm talking about junk shops. I'm talking about recyclers, whether they are plastic recyclers, paper recyclers, metal recyclers. And if you have access to them, manufacturers like us. And ask them a simple question. What condition should the waste be when it is brought to you so that you will pay best prices for them? How are we and our clients supposed to sort them, and how clean should it be? Once you know this, I encourage you to please do your part in educating your consumers on what they should do to the packaging waste after they have consumed the product inside it. I believe there's no better time, because now consumers are so environmentally conscious, and I believe a lot of them, given the right education, given the right awareness, given the right incentives, and it's not much. Sometimes it's enough that they know that their waste will be properly handled for them to change their behavior. Those are the early adopters that we must be aiming for. When you ask the junk shops and the recyclers and manufacturers the questions, you will probably receive some version of this very basic idea that you can maximize the value of the recyclable waste if it is delivered clean and sorted in some way. In general, for paper, what I know is that there is a different price for white paper than for all other types of paper. Up to 3 times the buying price difference. Please ask the paper recyclers or the junk shops how they want the paper to be separated. White paper from carton or other things. For metal, what I know is there is a price difference between aluminum cans and tin cans. For plastics, there is what you call the resin identification code. If you look underneath the packaging or on the side in the label, you will see 3 arrows forming the shape of a triangle with a number in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, we don't have time to get into the details, but Google the keyword resin identification code and you'll find many resources for it. The trick is, and I'm saying this ahead of time, it would depend on the marketable recyclables that the junk shops and recyclers in your area are collecting. That is to say, buying. Anything outside of that, unfortunately, gets classified as residual and therefore goes to the waste hauler bound for the landfill. But hey, you've reduced the waste that is going to the landfill and you've made some money in the process. Why do it for plastics? The price range for clean sorted plastics ranges from 2 pesos to as high as 30 pesos per kilo. Again, this depends on the area you are in, the type of plastic it is, and how clean it is. But the point is, I hope you're starting to see that there is value in the waste that you normally just throw away. It's like throwing away money. But the first step for you is to make a conscious choice to care about what happens to your waste. I think that you are here in this seminar because in your heart, you want to do the right thing. I hope that up to this point, you now have some commercial and monetary reasons to add on to that altruistic feeling that you have already. Making the decision to change the way you think, that is, to care about what happens to your waste, is the single most important decision you will make. Because once you decide to do that, there are so many resources to help you go forward in your journey towards sustainability and circularity. Once you've educated yourself and actually done the proper cleaning and sorting, what you have done is essentially turn your waste into a resource. You now have something in your possession that obviously will no longer end up as pollution. You now have an asset, something that can make you money. This is how Manly Plastics come into the picture. Because no matter the route that your recyclable waste or now asset takes, if you bring it to the junk shop, to the recycler, the manufacturer, it will ultimately end up with manufacturers like us. We are that part of the supply chain that uses the material. And when consumers like you buys the products that we are able to make from the recycled and upcycled materials, you complete the circular loop, which when scaled, we hope will ultimately eliminate most, if not all, waste from ending up in the environment as pollution. What we do is we take these recyclable plastics, we grind them, we melt them, we inject them into molds, and create products like crates, pallets, and trolleys. We have prepared a video giving you an idea not only of what Manly Plastics makes, but what our other company makes as well. We have also included a section showing you what our clients have done with our crates and pallets to create an internal or sometimes external closed-loop material handling system. We will be presenting the products under the various brands that our business unit handles. Manly Pallets, Sanko Crates, Sanko Trolleys, and many others. After this, I'll close with more practical and implementable ideas. This time using our products specifically that can make your business more sustainable, circular, and profitable. So please watch the video. Practical advice number 1. For business-to-business transactions that are recurring, meaning for those of you that deliver to the same place on a regular basis, please consider using our crates, our pails, our multi-purpose containers to deliver these products. Leave it with your client, and then the next time you deliver a fresh batch of product, pull them out, clean them, refill them, deliver using it again, and pick up the empty ones, and so on and so forth. This is no different from how companies like Coca-Cola delivers their soft drinks, how Gardenia delivers their breads. So this is for business-to-business situations. For more information on this, please contact us at the following numbers or scan this QR code to add my contact details to your phone book, or scan this QR code to download our food industry brochure. What is the benefit? Well, by implementing these in your supply chain, what you are actually doing are the first and second activities in the waste management framework, which is reduce by reusing. Again, reduce by reusing. This is to say, you are reducing the waste that you need to manage by reusing your packaging and material handling materials. And I'm sure a lot of you are already using it. The harder issue to deal with is the retail client. The clients that you do not anticipate to, well, of course, you hope that they will buy again, but you have no hold on them. Unlike you have a distributorship agreement or a supply agreement with, let's say, a restaurant or a food manufacturing company or a retailer or a distributor. Well, one of the things that you may want to consider is giving your clients incentive to return your packaging, and so you can refill them, as I mentioned earlier. The next way our business, not just Manly, but our business unit can help you is to provide a market for certain clean and sorted plastic waste. If you are a client of ours, we make this promise that everything we sell to you, we can take back. Anything that we sell to you does not and should not end up as waste, because we can take it back and we either make the same product again or we make other products with those. For example, the crates, we can make them into pallets. In addition to that, of course, prevention is better than cure. We also help you prolong the life of your reusable material handling equipment by providing user training to prevent misuse and abuse, which are actually one of the biggest reasons, next to theft, okay, why these things get broken or lost. Kasi kapag nanakaw siya or nasira siya, hindi mo na siya magamit and therefore, you have no other choice but to recycle them. Notice, there is use it and reuse it and reuse it. And then kapag nasira na siya, don't throw it away. Recycle. So what have we done? We've actually eliminated waste disposal in our waste management system by looking out for junk shops, connecting with them, recyclers, manufacturers, connecting with them. You've essentially eliminated that part of the waste in your operation. So another point about the retail client, no? Those clients that you are not sure will order again. The usual packaging for that, as you probably know, will be the microwavable packaging or the plastic bag or the styrofoam tray with a cling wrap. These products are not actually single-use. It is only treated as single-use. Most Filipino households do not have this problem of throwing stuff away. Not in a culture that does not like to throw anything na mapakikinabangan pa. But the reality of it is, you can only have so many microwavable containers in your kitchen cabinet. In those situations, you take those clean packaging and offer it to the various Facebook groups like Zero Waste PH and Sustainable PH. Now, if you have some left over, then again, it goes to the junk shops. It goes to the recyclers. Okay, it goes to the manufacturers. What I would advise is that you reach out to your LGU, your local government units, municipal or city environmental and natural resources office, or your Senro or your Menro. You can ask them for a list of junk shops or recyclers or even manufacturers. The point here is, folks, if you want to do something, the organizations are there, the LGU support is there, and the businesses are there. Sa totoo lang, kung ayaw, may dahilan. Kung gusto, palaging mayroong paraan. I hope that all the environmental campaigning done by so many groups over so many years, remember the Earth Day and all of these things, has convinced you that something must be done. What I will add to that message is, everyone can do something, no matter how small. We have a saying in one of my other projects called Sentinel Upcycling Technologies. We have several hashtags. The first hashtag is hashtag it takes the whole world to save the world, and hashtag it works if we work together. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake. We think we are saving the planet. Full stop. This is wrong. The planet has existed long before us. And if we mess this planet up and make it uninhabitable for us, the planet will exist with or without us. We are actually saving ourselves when we say we have to save the planet. We are consuming resources at a faster rate than it can be replenished to make products that we will use only for a short period of time for our convenience and our short-term safety. In the case of food, the packaging in the sachets and all of these other technologies are meant to keep the consumers safe. I think that after we benefited from the technology, we owe it to each and every one, each and every inhabitant of the only planet that we know of that can support life, to take every action, every effort to make sure that what we do will not end up causing harm to others. What Mandy Plastics and our other businesses are offering to you is a small part of the solution. But you have to make the necessary changes in your own organization to make it work. No matter how small the change, it can make a difference. Notice that this talk is a little light on the technical stuff, because that can be talked about later. That's a big part of what we do in our business unit. We call it sales and marketing, but it's actually about education. It's actually about influencing, convincing, no, with a price tag at the end, right? Because we are a for-profit business. But what we try to do is that in our conduct of our business, we also align the way we do our business to achieve greater goals. In this case, this is a very good opportunity for our business to also benefit the environment and to benefit the communities by providing a market for the waste, thereby turning it into resource. So that's it. We hope that you will join this revolution to shift our consumption pattern from the linear model to the circular model. It is good not only for the environment, but it can, with the ways I mentioned, be good for your business as well. May I invite you to scan the QR codes to download our brochures, and this one to add me to your phone books, and the other one to visit our various social media pages. Again, I want to say thank you to the organizer, the Design Center of the Philippines, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you this afternoon. I would like to close with a modified quote from Abraham Lincoln. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, we must think anew and act anew. We must disenthrall ourselves, and then we shall save our country. And dare I say, the planet. It takes the whole world to save the world, and it works if we work together. Thank you for listening.